Greetings and welcome back to Switch to Linux. It is Friday and it is time for the news. Not a ton of articles this week, and mostly among security and privacy. So that's really bad news. A whole lot of privacy stuff, people stealing your data, and a whole lot of breaches and a lot of hacks. I'm just like, oh god, our world is so done. So done, so done. But our top story is YouTube finally takes a stand. We're going to be chatting about that. Of course, this is like the 5th time I've been in front of the camera today. I've already done 2 videos for this channel today, totally weird and unscheduled. And then actually I did one for my patron supporters. The patron supporters get a weekly vlog, and so I did one of those. And then I did a little video for a client, so nobody sees that except those people. So, but anyway, we've been here, and the kitty's right here. Hello, everyone. And the kitty's back here, like, you know, playing some retro video games on a Raspberry Pi. I mean, that's what he's doing over here. That's exciting. So, our topics today, we have a few articles on privacy. I pulled out one on YouTube, one on business, and ending on a bunch of articles on security. And we're going to talk about these. Let's go ahead and just kind of start in with looking at the comments. There's already a lot of comments on the feed before we started, and there's actually some neat stuff I want to talk about in there. So, Isaiah, what do I think of the Windows 10 killing passwords? We're going to be talking about that one first. And then, let's see, sudo Linux. Sorry, man. See, this is why I don't work with Manjaro i3, because I just need a system that works, you know, but that's all right. That's all right. Let's see. Gregory Locke says, back when I started Linux, I did so because I didn't like the direction Windows 8 was going. Yeah, Windows 8 was like, to me, Windows 8 was like a splinter in your finger. It's like, I can deal with it, but it's really annoying. Windows 10 was like, no thank you. And what they're doing now with the latest build of Windows 10 is like, have people lost their ever-loving mind if you're sticking with that? I'm just like, what is going on? I just don't get it. I don't know. And so, yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit. Recently installed Life Outside the Windows. Recently installed Elementary OS. Notice that they now disclose the system updates is what being updated. Also have noticed for me it crashes less. That's good. Yeah, maybe I'll give it 6 months and go back and give it another whirl and see if it's back to something that's useful to me. Let's see. So I'm currently using Linux Mint Cinnamon. Customized it already. It's already tried Elementary OS, but the development is slow. And that's probably a lot of the problem. There's not a lot of people. I don't think there's more than 5 people working on Elementary, so they're doing pretty good for what they're doing. There's nothing about it that I like. It's just crazy. And Isaiah Briggs says, last 2 weeks I gained 270 subscribers. Yeah, I actually gained 90 in the last 3 days. Yeah, I'm on channel's on another growth spurt. That's cool. I appreciate that. And I'm thinking about 60 days I should actually cross 1 million views. That's kind of the next milestone. I'll celebrate with make some cake or something. I don't know. Let's see. Gregory Locke says, Manjaro starts out cool. It's just a matter of time before you get an update that kills it. I've had that experience on Fedora a lot for whatever reason. World of Linux. Greetings. Yes, let's see. Most things. Develop team is quite small. Yeah, I believe it's like 5 people or less. Linux Mint, Lite, and MX. Yeah, of those, I like Linux Mint the best. I'm not a huge fan of XFCE. I like it enough; it doesn't bother me. So obviously, I use XFCE on Cubes, which uses it, and I use it on Peppermint, which uses it. Although Peppermint might be, I don't know. I think they're both XFCE. I like it enough. It's just to me, it has like an older feel to it, and I just love everything that Cinnamon does. The only thing that I don't like on the Cinnamon is specifically with the newest versions of Nemo. It doesn't transfer files. Like to transfer multiple big files simultaneously, you have to actually hit the play button next to it, which really doesn't much matter. It's kind of the same thing that you know other operating systems do. It just gives you the option whether you want to transfer them subsequently or not. I have noticed some of the latest desktop things on Linux Mint have not been as stable as they have in the past, but it's certainly nothing that's bad enough to say it needs fixed right away, you know. Isaiah Briggs, 3 months anniversary switching to Linux fully, December 9th. Only Windows app I have used is Overwatch. Very cool indeed. Before Linux Mint, I tried Ubuntu 17.10, very unstable with GNOME. Plus, the whole thing on GNOME is removing desktop icons. Elementary OS, you can install something to put desktop icons on. It's actually a lot easier to add the desktop icons to GNOME than it is to Elementary. In GNOME, you just need to install the GNOME tweak tool from the repository and enable desktop icons. In Elementary, you have to install Nautilus, and then you have to install the deconfiguration editor, and then you have to add some figures, and that gets you icons in Elementary. So with those two respects, GNOME is a lot easier to get that working. But it's possible in both. Okay, even if Elementary OS is still work in progress, those who like to customize their distros may find a way around Elementary OS's negative and make them positives. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. This say is a good distro for using a Wacom pen tablet. I don't know, but let me know when you figure that out. I have a friend with like a pen device, and it'd be neat to see if we can get that working. I haven't really tried, but currently working on shell script, going somewhat universal with Linux Mint, Ubuntu Elementary for now. It installs the tweaks and stuff. That's cool. That's kind of neat. And yes, I was joking about the firmware to the hard drive being a Bitcoin miner. Haven't seen that one in the wild yet, but it wouldn't surprise me, really. Let's see. Switch to Abacus. Yes, Abacus. Or slide rule. Switch to slide rule. I mean, I have a slide rule. It's a nice ivory slide rule. Probably, like, get me shot in these days because, you know, a poor elephant had to die for that slide rule. I'm sorry, man. I got it, like, 50 years ago. Like, I'm not 50, but it's, my mother bought a house. I was still in college, so it was probably over 20 years ago. But my mother bought a house that the person who lived there was an old professor. And so there were a lot of weird artifacts left over in the house, like a slide rule. So I took the slide rule home and learned how to use it. It was kind of fun and stuff like that. So I got that, and I got several of the Latin texts that I used to study Latin because, you know, back in the day, the texts were a whole lot better than they are now. So let's see if there's anything else. Anything else? Yeah. Do you think language is a big part of understanding mathematics and science? Yes. And let me tell you why. If you want to understand a lot of this stuff, you need to move way beyond the simple model of education we have. You have to get a learned passion. If you want to know how science works, there is an amazing book by David Berlinski called A Tour of the Calculus, where he really takes you through the philosophy behind calculus. I think it should be required reading for any student in pre-calc. So your next class would be calculus. Read that book, so tie in some literature into that. I am a firm believer of all education is important in making the well-rounded person and the well-rounded individual. So we should never shun any form of education because all of it can tie back in. So yes, I think language is a big part in understanding mathematics and science. Mouse has issues. I'm just testing the command line. My mouse has issues too. The cat ate it. Right, kitty? Hello, Harold Cruz and James Miller. I want to test your command line tool. All right, cool. Hello, Shatter. Hello, Keegan. And, of course, Pizza. Pizza, I did record that Christian video that you were asking about, the walk through the whole Bible. It is on my channel, on the Christian channel now. So if you go over and check that out. It was like an hour and a half. You might want to split it up into a few watching sessions. But it's kind of a tour through the what the entire Bible is about as a whole overview. Okay, I'm going to stop right there so we can actually get into the news here. I'm almost to the bottom of the comments, but that's a good stopping point. So we're going to go ahead and start our news in the privacy sector. So this article here is Windows 10. There's some insider information on Windows 10. Of course, this is the latest one that's coming out. Is this called Redstone or Red Core? Red something. The red is in the name of this. I don't know. But they're talking about a lot of the different improvements that are in here. And we're going to specifically be looking at the password one. So Isaiah Briggs sent me the article about this from, I think, PC World. But I like going back to as close to the original source as I can. In this case, the original source is the Windows blog. So this is kind of giving us the walkthrough about all of the various changes. So game bar makeover, easier to find what you're looking for. I have no idea what the game bar is. I just don't play gaming. But it looks like great. They're making it look more like Mac OS. How wonderful. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Diagnostic data improvement. Yay! Diagnostic data improvement. The best diagnostic data improvement I'm going to see in Windows is to get rid of it all. You know, get rid of it all. What happened to the old days when I had the option to say, send this to Microsoft? No, they had to lay off their entire QA team, and then all of the people using the system became their beta testers. Thanks, Windows. So basically, this is a data viewer that will allow you to see in raw text the data that's being sent, which is entirely useless to you for the most part, but makes perfect sense to all those guys. Backend Cloud is currently under development, will be available in the latest delete. Graphic improvements, okay, capable of HDR video, needs to be calibrated, okay, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, more stuff for GPUs. Ah, this is the one we wanted to look at. The passwordless Windows 10s. Windows 10s, to me, I think I figured it out. S stands for Satan. This is the devil computer. Windows 10s. Now, of course, this is S mode now, integrated in all of the Windows. In theory, as of now, the home version can be upgraded to the full Pro version, or not the Pro version. The Home S mode can be upgraded to Home for free. The Pro version 10 Pro S mode can be updated to Windows 10 Pro for $50, $49. Of course, the little caveat to this, to my understanding, and I might still be wrong, but I've not found any evidence to the contrary, to do this, what do you have to do? Well, you have to do it through the Windows Store, which means you have to have a Windows account, which I believe now you have to set up a phone number. So in order to have a computer, and to my understanding, the basic default for any computer is going to be the S mode. So if you buy a computer in the store after April-ish or May-ish or so, you will likely get a computer with S mode enabled, and in order to get a Windows 10 that you can actually install programs on, you would have to supply Windows with a full Microsoft account and a phone number. Now, they might still have the secondary email authentication on there. Hopefully they do that. But they're just getting worse and worse because now there's an authenticator app. So some people have asked, what happens if you don't have a smartphone? And the reality is, I think this is probably something you need to set up. I'm hoping, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's not. So basically what this means is that you would need to download an app, and when your phone is close by your computer, it will unlock for you. Excuse me. My brain is turning to mush. My brain is turning to mush. Going to put my brain back in my petri dish and set it aside for now. We might need to mash up my brains a little bit more later. So basically, you set this up and it's going to authenticate you. Do you hate entering your passwords all the time? So do we. Passwords are inconvenient and insecure. Well, if your password is 12345, then stop being an idiot. But if your password is a decent password, it's not inherently insecure. Inconvenient? Sure, I'll grant you that. Particularly if every single online service would like you to have a unique password, and you should have a unique password for every service. Oh boy, now we can have multiple passwords. But it's not inherently insecure, okay? A password on your computer that is annoyingly complicated is infinitely more secure than your phone, because what prevents some fool from knocking you out, taking your phone, and bringing it near your computer? Hello? Not to mention the people who can actually, you know, I don't know, whatever. But anyway, you have the Authenticator app. Let's have a look at this Authenticator app in a new tab. Let's have a look here. You can use this to set up your Windows 10 SPC, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I mean, what's next? Never mind. I'm not going to go there. You will be able to access your out-of-the-box experience, set up Windows Hello, and access all your favorite apps and services, all without having to enter a password. With the changes in mind, the changes in this build, your Windows 10 PC will automatically make your experience password-free. You'll notice if you have Windows Hello set up, you won't see passwords anywhere on the Windows experience, not on the unlock screen or in the sign-in options. Oh boy. So they're tracking all of my data and locking it into my cell phone now too. This is so awesome. So here's how you set it up. Inside of your Windows Hello options, you set this up. So that actually answers the question. Some people have said that we're making more sensationalist arguments about this, saying, well, what happens if you don't have a smartphone? How do you get on your computer? Well, you just don't set it up. Of course, they have better eye control improvement. This is mapping your eyes. Certainly a neat technology if you don't have any use of your hands, but nevertheless, the fact that Microsoft has all this data telemetry and can track your eyes across the screen, kind of unsettling to me, to be perfectly honest. So here you have these various little things you can do. There's some security updates. There is one particular article. I think I put it under a different area. I thought there was one more thing. No, maybe that was last week's news. I can't remember. Anyway, there's some Bluetooth improvements. It connects quite instantaneously now. Microsoft Edge improvements, evolving full screen mode. With it, we've added F11 support to Microsoft Edge. Whew. You're going to confuse all those Apple users who don't have function keys anymore, man. Jeez. Full screen mode removes the Edge frame so only the web page is visible. Well, it's about time to bring it onto, 2010 standards with the rest of the web browsers. We've heard your feedback on this build. We're updating this experience so that without leaving full screen, you can now access the address bar and navigate to other sites. Well, thank you. We appreciate the fact that it's easier to access the URL bar. Clutter-free printing. I have no idea what that's all about because I haven't been on Windows in a while. At least not new Windows in a while. App permissions. To improve visual activity, we've added new category and privacy settings. Oh, hey, here's a new category that during the next update, you're going to have to go in there and turn it all off because they all turn on by default. Is there anything else we wanted to see? Bunch of things, just basic bug fixes. So that's what Microsoft is up to. And yeah, I put that under privacy because it's Windows 10. We have to put Windows 10 stuff under privacy these days. Oh, I do have another one. What's up with that one? Duh. Here says the Authenticator app. So Microsoft Authenticator app provides an additional layer of security in your work or school account. For example, B. Simon at, or how about Pizza Lovin' Nerd at myschoollovesmicrosoft.com. Or your Microsoft account. So the app works in one of two ways. Notification. It can help prevent unauthorized access to by sending push notifications to your smartphones or tablets. Great. That's all I need to know. The live feed that the hacker is in my system. Why don't you prevent it rather than let me know? It always drives me crazy when all sorts of new applications and web applications particularly are doing this, where they're all sitting here like, there's been new activity on your account. Well, thanks for sending me an email. Did you think about maybe trying to stop it? Or a verification code. The app can be used as a software token to generate OAuth verification code. After you enter your username and password, you enter the code provided by the app in the login screen, and the verification code provides a second form of authentication. Great. Opt in for two-step. The app itself doesn't work. Configure each of your accounts to prompt you for a second verification method. For a work or school account, you don't usually get to choose this feature yourself. Instead, Security Administrator opts out on your behalf and notifies you to register verification methods to your account. Okay, I'm going to stop right here for a brief moment because this is something in the modern education system that's just pissing me off. That what business do all these schools have in signing up their students for services without their consent? Because undoubtedly, a Microsoft account, a Facebook account, a WhatsApp account, all of these accounts are all asking for personal information. What's your birthday? What's all this? What business does Microsoft have in asking a school for what the birth date is of their student? I think it should be completely against the law, and I'm pretty sure that those schools should actually be held accountable for potentially leaking data about their students. This is a major problem, and we need to kind of stop that. All right, end rant. All right, next in fun privacy news, Chinese police are using facial recognition. There's Carbon Programmer. Greetings, Carbon Programmer. So Chinese police, there's a couple Chinese articles in here today. Chinese police are using facial recognition sunglasses to track citizens. Yay! This is like, they have these things here. They are connected. You'll see the glasses with a wire goes down into a smartphone. And then, so this is what the snazzy dude looks like here. And then this guy here, basically they can scan across the crowd, and then it's going to pop up information about the person that it sees. So this will alert the police if there's anybody out there in the crowd that might be a person of interest. So leave it to China state. Now, I am deeply concerned about all of this deep state surveillance, particularly the deep digital state surveillance going on in China, because they're perfecting all of these things. And when the Western cultures slip into that much craziness and psychoness, not to say they're not already there, but when this stuff becomes mainstream, the Chinese are going to have already perfected it. And this is just frightening. This is the frightening stuff. In fact, the other day, last week, I was at the store and I ended up finding a copy of Minority Report at Goodwill. A couple bucks. So that's where I shop for my movies, at Goodwill. $3. Bought me a copy of Minority Report because, well, at the time when I first saw it, it was just an okay movie. It has moved into that level of, I don't want to use the word classicness, modern day. I mean, it's scary, the things inside that movie. So if you haven't seen Minority Report with Tom Cruise, that's a great thing. But basically, they're deploying this system, which will basically, and they're going to be tying this into the CCTV systems and everything else. And basically, already they're capturing people, in wanted databases. So the problem is that these types of systems tend to store who is where, and that is where the problem is. If this were if it shows the criminal and then nothing else, I still don't like it, but that's the compromise that I would do. But to have a system that's perpetually storing, and that's usually what these systems do, that's where our problem comes into play. All right, another Chinese one, RSF, it's a journalist organization, Reporters Without Borders. Really? Why isn't this RWB? I mean, what's I don't know. Anyway, RSF urges journalists to quit using their Apple Cloud in China by February 28th. So if you're not familiar with what's going on here, based on how the Chinese is trying to control and own all of the data, they are forcing Apple that if anybody has an Apple-based address, their iCloud account must be managed by a Chinese government-controlled data center. And so they're moving all of those people into the iCloud, so effectively the Chinese government would have access to anything inside of your iCloud account. And so a lot of people use iCloud without realizing that it will store all your data. It will store your contacts. It will store all this information. So the purpose here is that journalists oftentimes, particularly in this day and age, you oftentimes as a journalist will have to hide your sources. And the problem is that your phone, as you're calling people or texting people or interacting with people, your phone will by default send a lot of data up to the iOS, like the iCloud system. And since the Chinese government can now apparently have access to that, RSF is telling reporters that are using Apple products to disable and discontinue, close, and disable your iCloud account on your iDevices by February 28th. Now, I run iPhones because up until, you know, a year or two ago, I did consider the iPhones still the best smartphones in the business. I don't believe that any longer, but I have never one time set up an iCloud account in mine. So I'm kind of okay there, but I really don't use my phone for anything more than check my basic email, do basic internet searches, and share my Wi-Fi when I'm not in the office. That's what I use my devices for. I don't use any of the types of built-in apps or anything like that. So that's kind of what China's up to. That's exciting stuff. Exciting stuff indeed. All right, are robot cops the future of efficient, bias-free policing? I'm going to ask you guys to answer that in the comments while I dig through some comments here. The question, are robot cops the future of efficient, bias-free policing? And let's jump on over to some comments and have a look. All right. James started messing around with KDE Neon tonight, and I really like it, but I'm leaving the proverbial problem of getting the printer to work. Yep. Thinking about doing a video showing what I like about XFCE. That would be cool, man. Do it. I once heard that Microsoft is going to start locking hardware. I switched even though there were some software I need that runs only on Windows. Yeah, you know what I need to look into very soon? I need to look into the new Wine, because apparently it's getting pretty good. Jeez, how far did I go? I think I'm down here, right? No? I'm somewhere around here. Oh, there we are. Yep. Finding running it enjoyable. That's cool. Yeah, I don't hate Elementary. It has not worked on any hardware I've tried to work it on. And too many bugs and too many issues, particularly with the fact that Elementary is supposed to be targeted to new users, and the only way to make it stable is by running things in the terminal. If you really want a distro that works well for new users, you have to focus on getting the GUI to work, and it doesn't. That's the problem. Okay. But I guess for those that it is working, that's great. I'm glad it exists. And the one thing that Elementary does better than any other distro I've seen, the parenting tools are awesome. Okay, I'd like to know if anyone will be staying in older hardware until they need a new computer because of Microsoft manufactures bootlock computers. I'll tell you that this has been annoying me more and more lately. In fact, the Acer I just set up for co-host, we cannot turn off Secure Boot. Couldn't do it. And so what we end up doing is switching his BIOS to Legacy, and that allowed us to install Linux on it. That's what we end up doing. But it'd be cool if I could disable Secure Boot and still use the better options. But it's getting harder and harder to pick up a computer that runs Linux, that can run Linux now, because Microsoft is playing their hand at locking down bootloaders and making it pretty much impossible to install Linux on. Yeah, so that's a legitimate thing you gotta be thinking of. School's starting a computer club, and they will be using Linux. That is awesome. Setting my prototype computer, just trying to figure out whether to go for an integrated AMD motherboard or an ARM-based Raspberry Pi board. I would say, if you want to do anything, I would not do the ARM unless, you have a very specific reason to do it, because you have a lot more flexibility with AMD-based. You just break the philosophy of Elementary OS as they've targeted you while you customize it. I'm in Algebra 2, and I'm going to take pre-calc next year. Carbon programmer, before taking calculus, read a tour of the calculus. And Windows 8.1, but looking at Linux distros on VB. Awesome, Kitson. That's cool. Why create special names or numbers like 11 when you can just say 10? 10-1. Would you like to review my command line tool when I'm done? Yeah, let me know when it's done, and I'll have a look if I can. I miss when Bill Gates was still Microsoft CEO. Yeah, he at least did better things over there. I'd rather kill myself than install Windows 10. Well, don't do that. I I feel the pain, though. I mean, if I had to install Windows 10s, I'd just go without a computer, you know? I mean, so Windows 10s stands for Stupidity Edition. There you go. Securely spying on Sky Storage. Nice. I should do terminal tutorials. I could. I hate it when companies make you add a phone number to your account. Yeah, in fact, XB the PC Nerd, I ran into that issue today. I'll go ahead and repeat my public service announcement now, because if you didn't watch my other video on web hosting stuff, a client had asked me a couple weeks ago to do an audit of their account, because he just took over managing their whole business, which included the website. And I've been doing their website updates for a while, but not seriously involved. And he says, can you go on there and you know, he's like, I'm getting emails from this and emails from that, from GoDaddy, and figure out, you know, what we owe, what we don't owe, what we have, what we don't. So here's their breakdown. They are paying $70 a year for an SSL when the standard is $50. They're paying $179.88 a year for hosting when the average right now is like, certainly, I mean, maybe around $100. They're paying $119.88 a year for a shopping cart that they've never used in 8 years. They're paying $12.42 for a domain name. Okay. $32.97 per year for privacy, which is usually $10, and $71.88 for an email service that they have never used or set up. And I was attempting to get on the phone with GoDaddy today to transfer the domain away. And since this guy added that $32.97 privacy thing, the only way to get rid of that is to add a phone number to the account. And then wait 72 hours. And then I can initiate a change. And then they're probably, my sneaky suspicion, they're probably going to register a lock-it for 60 more days. That's my thought. This company is slimy garbage. Do not do anything with GoDaddy. These guys are shysters. They have basically been billing, and this is a nonprofit organization whose entire mission is to raise money to fund scholarships for high school students going into college. They have been spending $486 per year on services, of which $261.75 they've never even used. That SSL they have has never been set up in 8 years. It is unethical for GoDaddy to continue to bill them for that. Such garbage. And so, yeah, so I had to. So I ended up basically creating a spoof Google account and adding a spoofed Google voice email to the phone number, and it was kind of a pain in the butt. But we'll see in a week if I can actually transfer the domain, and then I'm going to show them my hearty, you know, fairly new hand emojis as we close out their accounts and say, why are you closing your account? Because you are intentionally screwing over your customers. That's why. I get hot for that stuff, but anyway, you can watch that whole video. I rant for 12 minutes on that. I think 15 minutes. My computer company I will eventually start up will not spy on customers. Very good. Very good. There you go. That's my password. All right. Sometimes you can get away with just putting zeros for a phone number, or you'll... No, because the thing is, Spider Eyes, is they're sending an authorization code. Game systems do you emulate on the Retro? I have RetroPie set up on the Raspberry Pi, and that's pretty much all the further I'm going to go into that for now. Sure, why you need a password on a desktop, a laptop someone could steal, but desktops aren't portable. Well, you know, I get somebody coming in the house and trying to break in, and good luck. Thing I like about Windows 10 before switching to Linux was the free emulators in Windows App Store, but now they've all been taken down. Yeah. Greetings, Renard. How are you? Hey, Fast Gadgets! Greetings! I was just watching your video on command line stuff prior to jumping on the stream. Arch user, companies do seem to be stopping anytime soon. Hopefully I'll get to the bottom of this sometime soon. Does anybody have an answer for me? Are robot cops the future of efficient bias-free policing? Cop is a broken bill. Yeah, and there's actually two P's. It's C-O-P-P-A. The Children's Online Privacy and Protection Act, I believe is what it stands for. But, yep. You log into Windows 10 the first time. At my school, they give you a huge EULA you have to agree to. It took me 20 minutes to read it. You know what? You should just tell the school, I disagree with the EULA. See what they do. Vinyl has made a comeback, so why can't 1980s computer design? What baffles me the most is that Best Buy is halting sales of CDs, but you can still buy vinyl records. Excuse me. Pardon me. I had to mush up my brain a little bit more. Oh, boy. Oh, man. You guys just comment way too much these days. I have to skim through some of these. Let's see. Greetings, Anna Rita. How are you? Bad news from the stockbrokers. Apparently 8-track tapes aren't coming back. I don't know. Just give it another couple years. I don't know. Buys free if they were programmed that way. No, people program bots. Okay, good. We're getting to these. Robot cops as machines will be biased towards other machines. Automated cars will have a blind eye or camera turned towards whereas human drivers will still get the ticket. Yeah. Robot cops scary as we officially reach the RoboCop movie era. Hello, peoples. Because we have to watch the Terminator movie, they will not like us. Kitty, off my desk. There you go. All right, you have to clear up the security keys. All right, let's go ahead and jump on back to our article and our question. So our question, are robot cops the future of efficient, bias-free policing? The answer is no. I actually did an entire tinfoil hat time on this a couple weeks back, where we looked at the intricate biases inside of AI. And as these computers are more and more programmed as AI, what they tend to do, they tend to become racist. They tend to equate black people with an increase of crime and white people with a decrease in crime. That's what they do. Biases are built in. Whoever said that, biases are built into the system. So, yeah, this is kind of scary, but yeah, Robot Cops. Now, if you watch, of course, the original RoboCop and the remake of it, was it 2013, 14, whenever they redid the RoboCop. The RoboCop remake, I really like that one because it addressed the modern question in a much more knowledgeable era about the dangers and the problems of AI. They were wrestling with that question, are machines better or worse? And if you remember the part where Murphy was doing the test side by side with a robot, they're like, see, the robot neutralized the situation. They said, yes, but the human understood why. Was the point they were trying to make. And as robot cops start policing things, that is going to be a really, really bad day. So, yeah, just gotta kind of be careful with that part. Not sure why, but the next article was the one that popped up. I don't know. That's not the right, I don't have the right URL apparently, but it landed me on the right article. I don't know. All right, are we ready to get into our the namesake for our particular video here, the creators blog. So of course I early this morning I got up and the first thing I did, I checked the news on the phone early this morning, and I saw the issue with Logan Paul. Of course, YouTube, if you haven't been watching that video or unaware, is that today, YouTube kicked Logan Paul off of the YouTube Partner Program entirely. It's a suspension is what they said it is, which basically means he will be losing about $1 million per month is about what he estimates to make on his channel. And so basically, YouTube has said earlier this year that they're going to be coming out with stricter disciplinary measures for people who hurt the community as a large. Now, the video that he came out with, I personally flagged it twice. And the reason is, we have to remember that Logan Paul's chief demographic is 14-year-olds. There are more 14-year-olds that watch it. And the problem is, 2 minutes into the video, he's there drawing a giant penis on the beach. And it was not even hidden. Okay? And that was a big problem. And I looked at it and said, you know what? I consider that sexual content. So I flagged the video for sexual content. 2 minutes and 12 seconds in, they couldn't even go 12 seconds of appropriateness. 2 minutes and 12 seconds in, then they are, you know, he even makes the quote, "The Tide Pods have never been tastier." Tell that to some 14-year-olds. Yeah, you're going to have a whole lot of 14-year-olds chewing on Tide Pods. We can have different arguments about whose fault is that. I don't know. Of course, elsewhere in the video, you know, he's, you know, apparently attempting to give CPR to a fish and tasing a dead rat. I mean, what is this man is a sociopath, and we don't need sociopaths in front of millions of children. And so what they did is YouTube released this on their creators blog today. It says, recently we faced situations where the egregious actions of a handful of YouTubers have harmed the reputation of the broader community among the advertisers, the media industry, and most importantly, the general public. In light of this behavior and our commitment to tighten our policies and communicate with them more quickly and transparently, we are introducing new consequences to apply in the rare event one of the creators harm the entire community. So, first thing I'm going to say about this, praise to YouTube for now not just throwing out one guy does something bad and let's blanket the whole community with carte blanche demonetization. Because in reality, whether it's the Elsa Gate or the PewDiePie issue or the Logan Paul issue or the Daddy05 issue or all these types of things, when all of these things came down the pipeline, what we ended up seeing here is that they would push out changes which would end up hurting the smaller creators, not the larger creators. And that was a big deal. So now it looks like they're refining things to say we're going to put in better places to check individual channels, and the individual channels will be specifically disciplined for violation of the community guidelines. And this is good. Now, this was hard to do. And I grant it was hard to do because there are so many people on YouTube. But the reality is, if you look at the cross-section of people uploading, how many channels are there on YouTube that are over 1 million subs? There are certainly enough that your 10,000 moderators can actually take a look at every video, at least on a cursory note, you know? And that's the type of thing. So they're starting to put into some of these effects. And for the same reason, I think that we're going to see better results of this new partnership program guidelines of the 4,000 hours and the 1,000 subs. I think that that's going to be something that will help us more down the road, because there will be a lot fewer videos monetized, more monetized views, because there will be more product available to place on those, and fewer videos to check into when they're flagged for false demonetization. And as of mine right now, I still have, I think, 2 videos being flagged for demonetization right now. Let's double check that real quick. Okay, we're down to 1. Another one, I think, let's see. Oh, I think it was my top 5 reasons for using peppermint. I think that was demonetized. That's back in the clear now. And my extern OS is still sitting in demonetized status. I have no idea why. That's that. All right, so when one creator does something particularly blatant, like conducts a heinous prank where people are traumatized, promotes violence or hate towards a group, demonstrates cruelty, or sensationalizes the pain of others in an attempt to gain views or subscribers, it can lead to lasting damage to the community, including viewers, creators, and the outside world. That damage can have real-world consequences not only to users, but also to other creators, leading to missed creative opportunities, lost revenue, and serious harm to your livelihoods. This is why it's critical to ensure that the actions of a few don't impact the 99.9% of those who use your channels, connect with your fans, or build a thriving businesses. I am in so much agreement with the vastest majority of this. particular article here. Okay, we've long had a set of community guidelines that acts as a rules of the road for what creators can share on our platform, and we have a set of ad-friendly guidelines as to what we can monetize. So we also have a system of strikes that we use to enforce those guidelines, which can ultimately result in a channel's termination. But in the very rare instances, we need a broader set of tools at our disposal that can be used more quickly and effectively than the current system of guidelines and strikes. And of that, I agree. We need something that's better. Now, the biggest criticism I have on YouTube is that we have these community guidelines, but it's very clear they haven't followed them. And I fumbled the ball on something on my Logan Paul video today because I kind of started rambling off about watching these student loan videos, and I never got to my point. At least I don't remember getting to my point. The point I was trying to make is, as I'm watching all these student loan videos, I watched this one video that just had amazing things to say, but the guy dropped an F-bomb every other word, and there's ads floating before it. And I would like to show that to my friend, but I'm not going to, because the guy has like 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 F-bombs in the thing, and it's still a monetized video. I want YouTube to merely enforce the community guidelines that they have prescribed, and they don't, and that's the biggest problem. So today we're outlining additional steps that we may take beyond our current system. Let me actually click on that in case I haven't read that one. To take beyond our current strike systems when a channel uploads a video that results in widespread harm to a community of creators, viewers, or advertisers. Number one, premium monetized programs, promotion, and content development partnerships. We may remove a channel from Google Preferred and also suspend, cancel, or remove a creator's YouTube original. Monetization and creator support privileges. We may suspend a channel's ability to serve ads and the ability to earn revenue and potentially remove a channel from YouTube partner program, including creator support and access to YouTube Spaces. And three, video recommendations. We may remove a channel's eligibility to be recommended on YouTube, such as appearing on our homepage, trending, or watch next tab. Great. And all of those are things that I have called for in this particular content creator because he is so blatantly cares more about views and more about subscribers than he does his audience. Back to this GoDaddy company. If you care more about your revenue than you do about your people, you need a serious checkup from the neck up. All right? So in the past, we felt our responses to some of these situations were slow and you weren't the only ones. Okay. And didn't address our community's broader concerns. Our ultimate goal here is to streamline our responses so we can make better, faster decisions and communicate them clearly. We believe strongly in the freedom of expression, and we know that overwhelming majority of you follow the guidelines and understand that you're part of a large, influential, and interconnected community. But we also know we have a responsibility to protect the entire community of creators, viewers, and advertisers from these rare and often damaging situations. We expect issues to new consequences, only a rare handful of egregious cases, but we hope that they will help us prevent actions from a few harming the broader community. And I completely support that particular article because at least they're now taking a step and they aren't saying, well, let's just unilaterally apply this across the whole board, which ends up hurting everybody but the guy who caused the problem to begin with. So that's my take on that. Of course, here's creator influence on YouTube. I've not read this one. Let's see. At least I've not read it recently. I'm seeing I've clicked on some of these specific things. If a creator uploads content that severely violates community guidelines and result in ads being suspended, losing access to creator programs, or being ineligible for trending for a period of time. However, if the action is egregious, repeated, or a couple times with malicious intent, it may result in fewer or longer. I would like them to define better period of time. I really want to know more about what they mean by period of time. Of course, those are already the things we highlighted in the previous one. Creators who cause widespread harm to YouTube community may lose access to creator privileges and benefits. Actions that are not allowed would include severely, egregiously, or repeatedly violating community, seeking to monetize videos with severely or egregiously violate our advertiser-friendly content. Agree with that. So, I mean, I like this direction they're going. For the first time, I can look at what YouTube's doing and I can say, okay, good. We're moving in a positive direction. Let us sit down and celebrate the fact that we are moving in an appropriate direction. Hey, kitty, back this way so people can see your cute face. See? All right. Oh boy. Oh boy. Most people's users like automation bloatware distros. Okay. Okay, when you run elementary OS for the first time with the latest ISO, there are not problems anymore that you need to do a sudo apt-get. Okay, World of Linux, I will have a look at that and see if I agree. There we go. Hello, Dr. Lawrence. Glasgow, first time caught your live stream, loving your videos. Well, thank you, appreciate it. Running Peppermint OS, Mint, and Manjaro. Sweet, all good distros. Do you know of any way to get Windows 7 style jump lists on Mint Cinnamon? When you right-click LibreOffice Writer that's pinned to the panel, it will show previously opened documents. Specifically on the panel itself, I don't think so. There is an option, though, inside the settings to remember or not remember your recent history, I think. Let me have a quick look. Yeah, I'm not completely sure about that one. All right. Buy System 76 if you want a Linux compatible hardware. The problem is System 76 is extremely expensive. I don't always have the money to throw that much money into a new computer, especially when I can get an equivalent spec computer for quite a bit less in many places. I want to support the Linux guys, but I'm not willing to sever an arm to do so. Cannot disable secure boot. The only option is to delete secure keys. Well, I couldn't really do that either. I had very limited options, so we were able to disable the newer boot options and just go into a legacy BIOS, and that actually worked. Yeah, custom build is really good too. Having health issues, but thank God for my wife's health insurance. Oh, I'm sorry you're having health issues. Live in Jersey, France. The guy had some avatar as me, was most likely from USA. We all get easily confused. Dad bought me a GoDaddy domain for my birthday, but it didn't come with hosting. I tried to use FTP server, but with GoDaddy it said invalid. That's weird because I can access it at school. Yeah. Yeah, good luck with GoDaddy, man. Let's transfer that domain somewhere else. But you shouldn't actually be able to access FTP on it at any point without a hosting account. FTP is tied into the hosting, not the domain. See a ton of dystopian stuff with China, but none with Japan or Korea. Yeah. Okay. I'll try and go on fire if I can. Robot cops are here, yeah. Okay. Question is yes, and they also don't have a conscience and will shoot people of interest without a second thought. Yep. Arrest by algorithms. Yep. We predict you're going to commit a crime. Why do you predict that? Because your skin color? That's exactly what happened with Robot Police, though. Statistics have come out and demonstrated that there is a racial bias inherently built into a lot of AIs. And I like I said, I did an entire tinfoil hat time and complete with references on that a few weeks back at least. Robot cops of the future. Let's hope it doesn't end up being like iRobot, yeah, Chappie or Asylum, yeah. To look at my setup, as I don't really keep track of my updates. 3 different distros. Unfortunately, I'm having to install Windows back on the gaming system. Ugh. Hey, LJ. Robot will follow the crime. Yep. Okay, I think we are sinful beings, and therefore any robots we make will also have the sin nature. I think so, Gregory. That is correct. An ARM-based gaming PC, anyone? Got me one right here. RetroPie. Cassette deck from 1982. Yeah, that's the cool part. You know, that old stuff still works. Get a new system, it won't work more than 6 months. Get one of those old systems, they work forever. 5 till now might be better. Custom built CPUs. Okay. Robot cops. Now, where is that design for a portable EMP I had laying around here? Yep. That's pretty much it. And you connect via their web for your particular specs without pre-installed OSs. Yeah. All need EMPs if our human race is to survive the takeover. Yeah. Drawing a what will tell TED pods are tasty. What you... Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing, Anarita. Yeah. Yeah, he was drawing a what, and it was an active what. Was expectorating or something. School, we were learning about India, and there's a city where everyone burns dead bodies. Me and my friend just joked Logan Paul should go there. I want to say something, but I'm too much of a gentleman for that. Okay, I have 5 subs on this channel, and I'm like 5 subs on this channel, I don't know why. 5 subs, don't know why, huh? Are Logan Paul's fans a cult? Probably. They should take the Juggalos' place as a loosely organized cult. Get them some Faygo Cola. Never heard of Logan Paul. I'd probably keep it that way. Part of PewDiePie. How do you spell his name? It's spelled P-E-U-D-I-E-P-I-E. So it looks like PewDiePie is how it looks like. One point, what happened if advertisers say they would not support Linux? How does that affect a small community? Yeah, if advertisers would not support Linux, that would affect a small community, but most advertisers use Linux somewhere. Speaking of which, if you remember the other day, I did my GIMP tutorial on building a flyer. Well, we took those out to the local store, had them all printed, and they're beautiful. This flyer was being sent out to various cancer centers as part of a mailing we're going to be doing here in the next week or so. Entirely done and produced on Linux. On GIMP. GIMP rocks. Only heard other YouTubers speak of him. Yeah, that's probably it. See ya, Carbon. I get sick of all the F-bombs on YouTube. Yeah, that's the thing, you know? And that's the thing. If you really want to realize that the world is going down, there's a channel. I don't remember which channel it is. One of you guys probably knows or would have seen it. But they basically put a lot of real little, like, we're talking 5- and 6-year-old girls in princess dresses, and the entire video is them dropping F-bombs. I mean, I'm just like, our world's just going to blow up. Bad that we got Linux YouTubers who drop the F-bombs. Yeah, that's the thing, you know? We need to clean up our community. I love the video Joe Collins did where he called out the Linux community on that. And Joe Collins can do that a whole lot better than I can because he's a whole lot bigger and more popular in the Linux community than I am. But he is absolutely right. We, as a community, need to stop dropping F-bombs, people. We need to stop it. Paul is just as bad. Yeah, probably. YouTube fixes a false flag. One of my favorite scientific YouTubers being spammed as. Yeah. Military 9 years. I'd hear the younger. I swear a lot, but it goes down as they get older and more professional. When I hear a person swearing a lot, they just seem immature. That's right, Keegan. In fact, I was in high school, and I wasn't swearing a lot in high school. there's this kid at this table. He's just F this and F that and F. I looked at this kid and I said, excuse me, do you know any other adjectives, please? I mean, any more adjectives? Can you throw in one other adjective in your sentences? That would be great. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, oh, that's right. You probably don't have much of an education. Stream is laggy for some reason. I don't know why. I'm getting good health on everywhere. Cat is pausing, the stream's in place. Oh, you know what it could be? It could be the camera that I'm on. This camera occasionally gets a little laggy. The kitty cam gets a little laggy. My main one doesn't. So if I actually jump back up to my main camera here, this one should solve the lag. The kitty cam occasionally gets a little laggy. It's not quite as good of a camera as the other one is. Is the cat created completely from Linux? Yes. And the kitty uses Linux too. He uses Puppy Linux on his computer, right? You use Puppy Linux? Yeah. I think you do more than just web design. Is that based on your customers' ask or business services? Yeah, it's usually primarily I'm a web developer, but I do a lot of different web tech marketing type things. I'll pretty much do anything a client needs as long as it fits within the skill. In this case here, a lot of people that I work with, a lot of my clients trust me more than they trust having to hire and find someone else that's trustworthy. And so that's why he's just like, you know, would you mind doing this? And I'm like, no, not at all. Because I know a lot about graphic design already. So building a flyer for me wasn't a real big deal. It actually only took me, I think it took me 2 hours total to do the flyer with our back and forth and things. Check the guy on Earth on the reply. I'm not sure if I checked that one or not. I'll have a look at it though. There's about 6 or 7 new comments on that video that that I did not get to yet. So, hey, Mark Yates, how are you? All right, let's go ahead and jump over to our only article in the business sector. I just like this article too much to not include it. The HomePod is the point of no return for Apple fans. Yeah. I have no idea why. Like, it's got to be a matter that Apple itself, they pretty much would only allow positive reviews or whatever, because every Apple product I see, no matter how good or bad it is, according to the objective reviewers, it's like made of gold and precious everything. It's like it's the best thing in the history of the world. I cannot for the life of me figure out why I've seen so many positive reviews for this stupid HomePod. Okay? This thing is stupid. This is a speaker that when we have the Googles and the Alexas and Cortana, now Cortana can't do this, but of course we have these, and then there's the Sonos speakers, other smart speakers out there that can connect to the services of your choice, etc. This is a speaker that is 5 times more expensive than its competitors, that can only connect to a single service, that can only be managed from a single service. And if you thought the iPhone was tying you into the Apple ecosystem, you haven't seen the HomePod yet. I cannot for the life of me figure out why Apple cult fanboys are like, this is the best thing in the history of the world. It's like so cool. Are you brain dead? The speaker is openly hostile to any hardware or service that is not made by Apple. Yeah, openly hostile. I just see it, you know. I mean, where's my Android at? I mean, all right. So I got my phone running Lineage OS here. I have my little my iPhone is now going to be my HomePod, right? My HomePod is over here. Warning, I am detecting a hostile cell phone nearby. Remove this hostile cell phone or I will destroy it. And then it will embed viruses all over, you know. I mean, yeah, openly hostile. So basically, Apple, of course, has a walled garden, which they essentially want to lock you in. I hate the iPods, always have, because you can only manage the music from your iTunes. You can't just plug the thing in and extract the files like you can on every other type of MP3 player. And they're just trying to get all of the ecosystem working perfectly within itself, and not at all, because it locks you into their ecosystem. Even listening to music, it only works on their own Apple Music things. Okay? And of course you can do the Siri. Of course you cannot even hook two of these things up to have stereo sound. Of course you'd probably be going broke if you did have two of these things, because they're excessively expensive. And so of course they're going into how Apple, iPhone is now allowing you to uninstall some of the crappy apps that what I actually do with these apps, all of those apps that I have no interest at all whatsoever in seeing, they all end up going into this folder called bloated crap. Which is just full of a bunch of crap I can't get rid of. It's literally called bloated crap on my phone, and I just throw it out of the way. You can now, fortunately, uninstall those if I wanted to upgrade to iOS 11, which would probably kill my entire phone, because you know what? This thing here, I have never had the power shutdown issues. I've never had the thing get slow. The only problem I have with this is it occasionally drops calls, which I think is a hardware issue, not a software issue. And it's like, I mean, it's insane. It's insane. Because if I upgraded that to 10, it would be dying, not working, rebooting, restarting. But since I left it the old iOS version I had when I first got the thing, I've had zero problems with it. And I have a headphone jack, yeah. But if you wanted to actually switch to one of these other devices, you can no longer use your HomePod. It's kind of like the other day when I looked at the, I want to get a wireless access point. The only one I can get from the local store is the Samsung wireless access points. You have no option but to hook that thing up with a wireless access point, or with their own Samsung app. Would you like to know the two types of phones you cannot use that Samsung app for to set up your speaker? An iPhone and a Nexus 5X. My only phones. So I couldn't even use that thing if I wanted to. I couldn't get that thing to work because you have to have a cell phone app to set up a wireless access point. That is the stupidest crap I've ever heard of in my life. So, yeah. Go, Kitty. Or do you just, okay, I thought Kitty wanted to go, but apparently he doesn't want to go. He just wants to kind of sit there a little bit. So anyway, this guy's actually going through and actually being amazingly honest. I think The Verge is going to lose their Apple sponsorship. I don't know. But basically, you can't use it with anything other than the Apple products. Apple might open it up to proper Spotify support to entice some new users. Why bother? Why bother? They have an addicted cult fanboy people. The iMacintologists will be like, yeah, that's Apple's speaker. It's Apple's Siri speaker that can't work with anything but Apple products, and it's so expensive, but we don't care. Have all my money, Apple. I'm going to be destitute. You guys ever see? Oh man, this just reminds me of. Gotta find something here. Let's see. What the oatmeal and here. I'm gonna come back over here. I gotta find something for you guys, and I don't want you to. I don't want to. Okay, there you go. There you go. There it is. There it is. There it is. All right. So this is what owning the Apple product reminds me of. Absolutely. From the oatmeal, what's it like to own an Apple product? Oatmeal.com/comics/Apple. Announcing the iPride 3G. Woo! Tax $234. Total due at $12,425.24. And your firstborn son. iPride 3G sucks. iPride 4G equals better. Of course, sad guy, sad face with the Apple 3G, and everyone else has the iPride 4G. At ATM, account balance overdrawn, negative $2,900. Banking Clippy wants to help. It looks like you're turned permanently and totally screwed. Perhaps you should try spending money on food instead of App Store purchases. Entire house, $900, our best offer. DVDs, $2. My family, $40 each, or $100 for all. Can lift heavy things. Yeah, we won't read that sign. iPad 4G. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. Electronics. And now, live from the Apple Developers Conference, announcing iPod 4GS, now 0.0025% thinner than the iPod 4G. That's what it's like to own an Apple product. I mean, this is what the HomePod is doing, you know? This is what HomePod is doing. It's so locked in, it's so stinking expensive, and so limited in its functionality. Why do people keep saying how awesome this is? It sounds good. You people are buying vinyl records. Don't talk to me about sounding good. Okay, I'm a kid who grew up in a time when we had vinyls, transitioned to cassette tapes, lived through the CD, the compact disc revelation, and then moved on to the streaming services and the MP3s. Let me tell you something. I knew this story when I was in high school. I was babysitting the neighbor's kids. And I go down there and, back that day, we still had these cassette tapes. You plug them in, and if you have not listened to a cassette tape, you should listen to a cassette tape to hear how bad it is. You play a record does not particularly sound very good. It's like poppy, and it's not particularly a good sounding quality. It's slightly better than a cassette. It's radically more inconvenient, but it sounds slightly better than a cassette. What happened is our cassettes were bad, and then the neighbor's brother bought a CD player. He's like, this is so good. He went out and bought Beethoven. He's like, this sounds so good. And it did. If you listen to a cassette and then listen to a CD, you're like, holy crap, music sounds good. But then what happened is convenience got in our way. And we started trading the compact discs, which were fairly convenient, but not as convenient as an MP3. And then to get the sizes down to the point where it's small enough to download in bad or internet connections, you would lose some of the quality. And so you don't get as good of a quality as in an MP3 or even in a stream as you did in a CD. And so what are we doing? We're ignoring the CDs. We're going way back to the most inconvenient and crappiest sounding audio we've probably ever had. And you want to pay 5 times more for a speaker because it sounds better? We got problems. Oh boy, that's what I have to say about Apple. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Google Chromebook commercial is weird. Remember those Windows 3.1 days? Yep. All right. Would you mind if I recommended you somebody? Try to help them with their website, but I don't have time or the know-how. Absolutely, Logan. If you shoot me actually, the best way is if you shoot me an email on the contact form at switchtolinux.com. I'll get back to you with my business email address, and that's always the best way to find me, Logan. So you can go ahead and do that, and I'll chat with them and give them a quote or whatever else, and see what I can do. Kodiachi Linux. All right. The last live stream I was talking about the uninterrupted power supply and only supported Windows for their software. I was able to emulate Windows in the USB. Very good. Very good. Dad brought you home pizza. XP the PC nerd? You have pizza loving nerd over there? What? That's cool. Herd gives a HomePod a bad review. It's a failure. I've seen all sorts of HomePods and all these sparkling reviews. How great it is. Maybe I need to look up HomePod sucks and watch some of those, and then I might have some faith in humanity restored. HomePod, yay, another network penetrating device for your home. Yep. It's beneficial to watch in Korea. Hey, no problem, Planet. Or Plant Eternal. I'm glad we've reached Korea. Awesome. Apple is a disgraceful company today. Yeah. Have you ever tried putting Linux on a MacBook Pro? I have not. I have one Mac in my office. It's just a crappy little Mac Mini, and it's only here so that I know how to do things on Apple. And it sucks. iOS 11 is so buggy. Yes, it is. iOS 9 works beautifully, actually. I have minimal complaints with iOS 9. iOS 6 was my favorite. It still looked good and behaved good. Of course, I could have done without the force-mandated Game Center, but no well. Tucker Carlson Google. See the data collected from your phone when you have your SIM card removed. It could tell when you're walking versus using a vehicle. I'm going to look that up. What is that? Tucker Carlson Google. Of course, it would help if I spelled Google right, doesn't it? Personally use AAC. Yep. Apple, planned obsolescence. Yep. Do search on your YouTube. Let's see. See the data collecting. Okay. Just want to bump into Windows 10 X. I'm pissed off about it. My family's been through hell, and my mom has been a rock through this. BS. Brett wanted to do it from the heart, and they just shut us down. Right? Huh. I don't mind the word hell in that context. I have a funny story, though. My first book, Testing and Temptations, the publisher made me take the quote, "My life was a living hell," out of my book. I'm like, no. I had to, of course, but oh well. Okay, Apple big ripoff. 4-core 16 gig RAM from computer, 3,000. For 3,000, you get a 16-core 32 gig RAM discrete GPU PC. Yep. So what are we? I mean, Mark, let's see. Bought it for, cannot use it. Slum. Oh, the iPad. Yeah, with an iPad 2, I think it was capped to Windows 7, I think. Or iOS 7, I'm sorry. Want to recommend you for website. Where do I point them to? My actual business name is Western Mountain Web. If you actually go to on my YouTube channel, it's actually one of the links inside my on my banner. So my business name is called Western Mountain Web. Still buy my own CDs and host music myself. Absolutely. That's what I do. I buy music, and then I rip them, and I put them into my media library, and if I need them when I'm not home, I got a VPN for that. Eight tracks are coming back. Oh, yeah. Which company makes best-sounding speaker? I don't know. I buy $4 headphones from Walmart because they last me a long time. And frankly, they sound just as good as these expensive headphones I see floating around. We have lost our ear in America. So a video said they use different sound mix on LP record than they do on CDs. The only reason why LP recorders might sound better. Cassette Walkmans were the things to have. Yep. I had an official Sony Walkman brand Walkman. That's how old I am. 2020 or 2025 OS doesn't matter because I'll be cloud-based services. I won't be using them. I'll do Bluetooth or Wi-Fi speakers because I'm an old duck and enjoy higher bit rate. Yeah, that's right. Welcome back, Pizza. Love a good sounding speaker, and I laugh at those people who use crappy earbuds and cell phone speakers. Someone say pizza? Pizza, pizza. Yep. Are you wearing your toga, Pizza Loving Nerd? Pizza, pizza. Now you can have Amazon, Google, and Apple track you wherever there are speakers. Yeah, whenever I see displays in a store of like Alexas or Google Homes or whatever else, I stop talking around them. I don't want them to track where I'm at. Cassettes can meet under, yeah. If you had, you could get some of the digital-based cassettes. In fact, I still have it, in fact, when I was in, I think I was in 7th grade when Motley Crue came out with Decade of Decadence. And that was such a radical tape because it was done on on a metallic black digital. It was actually a digital cassette tape rather than your typical analog cassette tapes, and it still sounds amazing to this day. But they were hard to come across. They were not very popular. So my... Oh, yeah. Very good, yeah. Fox News is not half as bad as I once thought it was. Yeah. Temptations? Kitty, are you tempted? I don't know where he is. Stepdad and I are surprised my step-grandma. My stepdad just got him a ThinkPad, and I got to put Solus on it. Nice. Very cool. A lot of CDs, iTunes library, make backups for them. Also own a CD. Took me ages to track down, and 100 reasons. I think CD will kill, called Kill Your Own. Okay. Well, sure, all of that bloated firmware on Linux kernel makes Linux work. See you later, Kitson. My entertainment is my MP3 player connected to my Logitech speakers. All cost me $50. Yep. Actually, my MP3 player broke, so I'm using an old burner cell phone that I picked up an old burner cell phone for like, I don't know, 10, 20 bucks at Walmart. I use that. It's my MP3 player. Works better, stores more stuff. You know, it's kind of a pain to turn on, turn off. All right, let's go ahead and finish up the next news section, which is privacy, or I'm sorry, security. We're on security. All right, so in security news, my bitrate dropped a little bit. In security news, early warning, ABD miner, a mining botnet. Oh, this was a good one. So the Android debug bridge, which is something if you tinker with your phones, make sure you turn this off. What I do on mine is I'll turn this stuff on when I'm doing phone adjustments, and then for security, I always turn all these off. So on Monday, this was reported. This was a worm that went through. When you enable the ADB system on an Android phone, it opens up port 5555, which wormed its way through China, Korea, etc., and it infected over 5,000 Android devices in less than a 24-hour period as a code that would mine, is it Mariah code? 2.75 thousand to 5,000 so far, mainly in China and South Korea. 40% in China, 30% in South Korea. So the infection trends on port 5555. This is a worm, so the only way to prevent it is to make sure that that port is blocked on your particular device. And of course, the last update was actually still like Sunday or Monday. And so if you do have an Android device, make sure that this port is locked out. And I mean, this is the spike in, this was first detected February 2nd. Boom. One day. Boom. I mean, that's insane. So, you know, once again, all these smart devices are going to going to kill us for sure. And so this is the wallet address it's going to. As of the time of this writing, it has not yet received any, but it was brand new, and I have not seen an update on this for the rest of the week, but just an FYI, make sure that ADB is turned off on your Android phones so you don't get infected with that worm. Equihacks released a new phone app, which wasn't working well initially. Eventually, they came back and said, yeah, okay, it's starting to work again. And so basically the app, it has the credit report lock or security freeze. And this is so laughably stupid because it's like, what's the difference between locking and freezing your Equifax credit report? The answer really, a freeze actually does something. A lock gives you a false sense of security. That's your real answer. So what are the major differences between locking and freezing your Equifax credit report? At their basic, credit lock and security freeze both generally prevent unauthorized access to your credit report to open a new credit account. See, this is the thing with all this credit report stuff. At what point in time are we going to get the ability to completely opt out of all this baloney? Okay, I don't want to borrow money. I don't want these companies collecting my data. They have not consented to collect my data, and now they're storing it in insecure means, And to lock or freeze this credit report, I have to pay every one of these entities in my state. To my state legislators who might be watching, change the law. We are in a world where if these companies are going to be allowed to collect all this stuff, the least you can do is allow us to freeze and unfreeze it for free. Without verifying who we are in some way, because frankly, I think that the hackers know more about me than I know about me, quite honestly. So pretty much you get this thing, and all this is basically just a means to track you, because it's just an Android and iOS app that allows you to push a little button to give you an illusion of security. Pushing the button, I'm safe. Did you know that only 1 in 10 credit card applications actually check your credit? Most of them just hand it to you and you a credit card. Like, oh yeah, I have a credit card. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, CJ the cat would like a credit card too? Sure, CJ the cat can have a credit card. Why not? You know. And so this is useless crap. Yet another app that probably is another security vector for them. So, yeah. All right, Malwarebytes comes up with, let's see, tech support scammers find a new way to jam Google Chrome. Oh, yeah, that's right. So this one is a new take on your pop-up. This is still in the wild. Actually, a friend of mine just called me on one of these last week. Was it? I think it was last Wednesday, in fact. A friend of mine called me from out west and was like, my computer's telling me I have malware, and I called up the number and they wanted access to the computer, but I wasn't sure what to do, so I didn't allow them to get into there. And so I'm like, well, that's good, because they're scammers trying to infect your computer. And so basically what this is a new bug that only affects Google Chrome and probably Chromium as well. So what it does is when you land on the page that happens to have this, which is probably just dispersed in an ad, this thing is going to download, and what it does is it gives you the the pop-up here, but then what it's actually doing in the background, and you can see as it's doing things, you can see the huge spike in CPU resources. What it's doing is it's mass downloading these files so fast that it interrupts any of your attempts to close the system. So that's what it's doing. As of right now, Internet Explorer and Firefox are immune to this particular hack, but they go for Google Chrome because more people are on Google Chrome. And so here is the text view, what's going on. So you can see it's a JavaScript exploit. I should look for any domain names in this and get rid of them. Looks like I probably can't do that. Basically has to do with how the system saves or opens blobs, and that's kind of what allows you to do it. So here you get basically what the thing's doing, downloading 2,601 updates currently in progress. Do you want to cancel? The answer is yes. I would like to cancel the 2,601 downloads that this spammy website is downloading to my computer right now, actually. So just keep in mind, if you're running Google Chrome or Chromium, probably Chromium, they only talk about Google Chrome, but I'm guessing Chromium would do the same thing. This is fun. Key iPhone source code bug gets posted in what Apple called, or some Apple experts called, the biggest online leak in history. It came out, I didn't include the article, but this was actually an intern at Apple released this. I didn't see if it was intentional or an accidental type thing, but regardless, the source code, and now this was the iBoot source code from iOS 9. So, you know, hopefully that means that the iOS 9 jailbreaking is right around the corner, because that's exactly what they were working on. That's why it's so hard to jailbreak the newer iOS versions. But basically, Apple kind of confirmed that it was legitimate by issuing a copyright takedown to GitHub. It was posted on GitHub, so it's probably focusing, you know, circling around the internet now. So, you know, if you're looking for it, you can go ahead and grab that. But anyway, that leaked. That was fun. Expect some new things from that, so, you know. This is a good one here. I love this article. Man is suing T-Mobile for allegedly failing to stop hackers from draining his cryptocurrency account. I was reading through some of the comments on this, and some people are sitting here going, well, you know, I mean, this is a loser because, you know, you shouldn't, even the cryptocurrency accounts say don't use a cell phone. I think this is a winner. And the reason I think this is a winner is because the man signed up to have a PIN lock accessed on his account. All right. And so in response to actually having them put that in multiple different times, they still did not successfully do it. And somebody was able to take his AT&T account number and transfer it to AT&T. Well, AT&T commented back and said, no, we don't actually have to have the PIN to transfer the phone number. We just have to have the account number. Remember how I said at the beginning of this video, don't ever use a cell phone to do two-factor authentication? Or maybe that was in the GoDaddy video this morning. I don't remember. Don't ever use your cell phone to do a two-factor authentication. All right? Because the cell phone is now the weakest link. And if everyone's two-factor authenticating hundreds of their accounts onto their one device, and Equihacks was very gracious to hand all of our data to hackers, someone can just get in there, grab your phone account numbers, and transfer your phone to another carrier in a day, less than a day, a couple hours, and then go into every one of your sites and push lost my password. They're going to default to using the phone as the most secure way, and now that guy will have grabbed every one of your accounts before you even knew you had a problem. That is a huge issue. The fact that AT&T and T-Mobile can trade phone numbers back and forth between each other with only account numbers is so laughably ridiculous that I think this case is a winner. So basically somebody transferred the phone, did exactly that. He used the cell phone to get into the Bitcoin system, and the guy ended up stealing, several Bitcoins. So basically he's suing T-Mobile for failing to properly secure his account. And I think this is a winner. I think T-Mobile is going to be on the hook for this one. But security stuff. If you have to do a two-factor authentication, get a burner phone that nobody, I repeat, nobody has the phone number to. Don't even give it out to anybody for an emergency. Don't activate it with your real social security number. Keep the thing running and don't do anything with it. Literally keep that thing with its battery out, wrapped in a tinfoil box until you need it. That's the only way I would use a cell phone with two-factor authentication. Because it certainly prevents the identity thieves from taking my phone number and then using that to verify, which is so annoying because my bank, like every other week, is like, you need to put your phone in your account for more account security. I'm like, are you guys morons? I'm not. Pretty sure my bank is morons, though, honestly. But let's do this one. I want to cover the next article last. So Cisco, this is, we talked about this Cisco leak a while back. Well, this is actually quite a major Cisco vulnerability that was released that they found, like literally the information for it was just released publicly. And people looked into this and go, oh, crap. You know what? This thing's already in the wild. So people are already exploiting this Cisco vulnerability. And it's on a variety of different products here. You'll see if you happen to have any of these guys here, update your security. This is considered extraordinarily high risk by Cisco right now. And for our last article, and this is such a bad idea. This is so stupid. So Chrome will be branding plain old HTTP as not secure. So basically what happens is right now, if you go to a website that is not HTTPS, you will see it looking like this. As of Chrome 68, it will now say not secure and have the example here. So what's so wrong with this? The problem is twofold. The first problem is this gives a false sense of security. People look at this and go, oh, it's secure. And so they'll think it's just fine. The problem is, the dueling problem is it's too easy to put an SSL on a system without any other back-end verification. I mean, it's that easy. It's extremely easy to get an SSL on a system. So an SSL used to mean something specific. Now it just doesn't mean anything at all. And Google has been behind pushing this, and Firefox has been pushing this. As of right now, both Firefox and Chrome will display the insecure passage only on a form that looks like a password box or something like that. The problem is, so that first problem is it gives a false sense of security for people who want to, look at this and think that this is secure versus not secure. The second is a regular standard website that's merely an informational website that's HTTP is a whole lot more secure than a hacker or a fraudster that happens to have HTTPS on a system. So by saying not secure, you're basically saying that this thing is super problematic. And it's not. There is nothing, like, I don't want to say there's nothing insecure about it, but you can't be as sure that the data you're getting on the site is not the data that left the server if you have an HTTP instead of an HTTPS. But if you're talking about a brochure informational site, don't sit there and tell me about secure versus not secure. Because if you're sitting there and telling me it's not secure, you're going to have a whole lot of people who are ignorant of these technologies who are like, I don't know what this means. It's not secure. Is someone stealing my information? This is so stupid. We just need to go back to, if there is information you're submitting on a form, make sure it is secure. Don't sit there and tell me not secure on an informational website because I'm reading a stupid article or something. That's my take on that. Oh, boy. Companies don't care about their customers. We are in a number or a digital monetary value. Yep. You had to have digital tape player for digital tapes. I think by that time, though, they were all digital. They all had that capability. I've never encountered a player that could not play that. I mean, if I went back and put it into a player from the 70s, it might not, but... So long as we were not customers from, they don't care if we live or die. Yeah. Yeah, that's the truth. Digital cassette tape. Dat or ADAT? I don't know. I'd have to go look at the tape. Do you know where there is a planned obsolescence for charging the battery? Do you... yeah, for the iPhone specifically. Yeah. Absolutely. Hard to get a good MP3 player these days. That's right. The days of good MP3 players have peaked. Like, I still kind of want to get another standard MP3 player, just something standard that doesn't connect to the whole internet and all that kind of crap. I just want something I can throw my stuff on so it's more convenient. That's what I want. I can't find anything that even looks remotely good. For comparison, the last one I had was a little SanDisk one. I paid $30 for it or something. It didn't last very long. The one before that, like, and I had MP3 players when they were still literally laptop hard drives on crude, probably Linux software and screens. Like, if you remember Arcos, I had Arcos MP3 players. And then I had a couple of creative MP3 players. Those were really good. And you just can't find that type of quality anymore. They suck anymore. They just suck. Equihacks can get lost. I'm not concerned about my credit. I buy everything in cash and never borrow. Yeah, but somebody could be wreaking havoc on your credit score all the same. And one of the biggest problems, though, Stryker, is that someone can steal your identity and commit crime with it. And then it looks like it's you, and you can find yourself, the police chasing you. That's the biggest problem with this. Android is a Linux fork, according to Linus Torvalds. A modified Linux kernel with BSB port, including Google's proprietary software, is equal to Android. Yes. Hypocrite Republicans who are perfectly fine running up debt as long as they control the government. Yeah. Well, not sure where that one came from. Hey, Terry. Appreciate it. All right. Buying something, always use cash. Yep. I'll be targeted by this hack if I'm using... will I be targeted by this hack using Vivaldi? I don't know for sure, but it's possible because I think Vivaldi is based on Chromium as well. Logan Graham, use Firefox and have a pop-up blocker and privacy badger. No script and unblock. I just run a 7 megabyte hosts file. That takes care of most of my junk. Okay. Hey, get off my desk. No hind paws on my desk, kitty. There you go. All right. Only buy what you can afford only buy what you can afford with cash. Yes. Borrowing will only make you a slave to the bank. That's why I drive a used car. No headaches. Yep. Debt puts you in a world of trouble. Yes, it does. There's Basilisk. Yep. See ya, pizza. I run Chrome-based browsers as well as Firefox with their required add-ons extensions for blocking the nasties. It was the GoDaddy video. Okay. That makes sense. Bitcoin miner got robbed. Perhaps karma for those miners. Personally feel a headache and dizziness if I close my smartphone. Just downloaded the iBoot source code. A OMG code is there. Never saw Apple source code before. Careful that ICE doesn't come find you if you're in the United States. I'm not sure if you are. If you're in the United States, the ICE will come find you for that. You downloaded the source code for Apple. You deserve to die. I feel betrayed by Google Chrome. Yeah, that's why I don't use it. I've never actually used Google Chrome for anything significant. It's been installed on several computers just as testing purposes, but for the most part, I don't use it. Linux is more secure than Windows by design. Yes, it is. They don't disclose security they use so you can't find if it's actually good or not. Yep. Hey Maverick, how are you? Reason why it's so hard to find a good MP3 players is they want you to use a smartphone for that. Yeah, probably. Don't have a phone, so your switchtolinux.com site isn't going to work for me, but I'll just send the other URL. You don't have to have a phone to get on it. It isn't going to work for me, but I'll send my other site. Yeah, just look them up. It's pretty easy. Western Mountain Web is the URL. Like it's westernmtnweb.com. Remember the Creative Zen? Yes, I had a Creative Zen. That was one of the better MP3 players I've had. The best one I had was no, it was the Creative Nomad I had. I had two Creatives. I had the Nomad, which was the bigger one, still had a laptop hard drive in it. And the other one was, it was a much smaller one. I love that tiny one. It was super lightweight. It had like 30 hours of battery and 30 gigabytes of internal storage with an expandable SD slot. I mean, that was one of the best phones I've ever used. It might have been the Zen. That might have actually been the Zen. I don't know. No, it was the Nomad I had. I can't remember the name of the other one. Koan for a decent MP3 player. Problem is I'd like to have my MP3 player that allows downloading podcasts. Yeah, I don't necessarily care that it does that personally. MP3 player is also good if you simply want to listen to music. Yep. All right, see you later, Linux musician. Yeah, we're on late tonight. This is a long stream. Kitty? We're wrapping it up here soon, though. I'm done with all the articles. I'm just going to get to the bottom of the comments, feed the kitty some temptations, and be done here. Logged into the stream, the Bitcoin miner tricked the robbers, so they got nothing. Oh, in Canada. Okay, all right. Since my wife and I paid off the cars and the education has been left on our shoulders, now we owe everything, including the toilet paper. That's good. Speaking of toilet paper now, the new list of emojis coming out, we're getting a toilet paper emoji, everyone. I know y'all were waiting for that, but... And Apple has their own secret police force. Yeah, it's called ICE. They raid Apple repair stores. Watch some Louis Rossman. He'll talk about some of that. Back to hit play, and I hear Tom say... Sorry, Mark. Not you. I don't remember saying... Did I say you deserve to die? I don't know. What was my context of saying that? Quirky sense of humor, yeah. Seriously has their own police force. Huh. Did the original iPod allow you to transfer files to and from a USB drive? No. No, the original iPod was Apple-fied. All right, I think we're to the bottom of that. Let's go ahead and engage in the kitty cuteness here. Oh yeah, yeah, you know what you want, huh? Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I think this one's about empty, so I'm going to empty the contents of the package, I think, on the table here. And let me hold on, kitty, hold on, kitty. I gotta transition the camera for everyone. We need double the cuteness. There we are. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, there's some more. Oh yeah, here you go. Here, I'm gonna feed you one or two of them. Ready, buddy? Here you go. Yeah. There you go. I'm just going to give him the rest of this because that's the end of that one. I think that's the last of the temptations I have. I think the next thing I have is Meow Mix treats. You like those, huh? Yeah? Should we give some of those crumbs to your sister, or are you going to eat them all? I think he's just going to go ahead and eat all those crumbs. Let's see if there's any final comments while he's chowing down. Been known Apple products are too good for security, so the police cannot see the contents. But now I know it's a lie. Yep. Is that good? Kitty's in a good mood. Kitty got an extra dose of them today. Hey, Fast Gadget says, here, kitty kitty. He's like, I don't care, man. I'm chowing down, man. I'm chowing down. Private corporations and their private militaries. All right. Never buy an Apple phone because security issue. Siri, come here. All right. Your temptations are done. You got to get off the desk again. There you go. Here's a few more. He's like, no, there's still more. There's still more. All right. Well, my schedule this week is also a little goofy. I might be doing a tinfoil hat time tomorrow, or it might be Sunday. I don't know for sure. Keep an eye out on the channel. I'll go ahead and list whatever I'm doing next, whenever. Once again, if you'd like to help support the channel, you can check out switchtolinux.com/support if I can find it. I don't know. Hey, there it is. switchtolinux.com/support. I have some Patreon. I have PayPal, Amazon affiliate links and stuff. And I have decided where I'm going to have t-shirts and stuff made. It's just going to be a matter of a few more weeks before I get it all set up. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Keep your brain in the Petri dish, and we'll catch you guys later.